Hello and welcome back to my Excel tutorial series. In today's episode, we are going to take a look at two useful functions. Actually, they are one of the new functions that have been added to Excel, and these functions are WRAPCOLS and WRAPROWS. Okay, so let's take a look at what these functions are and how they are used. So on your screen, you can see I have 13 countries here, and they are in one column. Okay, so the goal of WRAPCOLS is to take this single column of data here and split them into multiple columns of 3. Okay, the number 3 is specified by you. You can break them down into 4 countries in a group. Okay, so what this function is going to be doing is to take the first 3 countries and put it in one column, takes the next 3, put it in the next column, takes the next 3, and I've colored them so that it becomes easier for you to understand. And then takes the last one and puts them in the next column. And then in the 5th group, we have only 1 left. So it's going to be just 1. So I'm going to start writing the formula, and it starts with equal to sign. And then I put in my WRAPCOLS. And then you have to specify the vector. Okay, look at the tooltip. The next input that we need is the vector. The vector is your source data, which is selected right here. And then you put in your comma. The next one is the wrap count. Or this is going to wrap, okay, in a column fashion. So the wrap count. How many countries do you need in a group, okay, or in one column? So let's say we need to break this into 3, and then you close it. You see that there is another input here which is pad width, but I will explain that later. For now, if you see anything in the square parenthesis in the function tooltip, it means it's optional. Okay, so I don't have to bring it in now. I'm going to go ahead and close it so that the formula is done. And you notice that it has produced the output that we want to look at. This column has been broken down into multiple columns of 3. Okay, now you see that we have NAs here. Why do we have NAs? Because in the last group we have only 1 left. So this is 13. Okay, we don't have exactly 15. It was only 13, so we are missing 2. Okay, so that's why we have the NAs. So if you don't want to see the NAs and then you want to replace the NAs with something else, you can do that. And that is what the last input, the pad width. Okay, the pad width, that is what it's used for. So I'm going to put in a comma here, and then we want to pad with what? What do you want to pad with? We want to pad this NA with just nothing, like an empty space. So I'm going to put the empty space in full quotation marks. Okay, beginning and ending. It's nothing. So when you press the enter key, you see that it has taken away the NA. You can, instead of NA, you can put anything else. You can put, let's say, not found, and it's going to put not found here. Okay, so that is how WRAPCOLS is used. Okay, this is a very simple example of how to use WRAPCOLS, but then there are multiple ways that this is very useful. Okay, you could have achieved the same thing using Power Query. Okay, but in Power Query it involves a lot more steps. If you have to write the function this way in Excel, is very easy. Just WRAPCOLS, specify your vector, and then specify the number of counts, and then if you want to specify the pad width, you can. Otherwise, just close the parentheses, press the enter key, and then your function is done. Okay, now let's go to WRAPROWS. What does WRAPROW do? WRAPROW takes values in a row and then breaks them down into multiple rows. You have to specify how many values you want to see in a row. So you notice that it has taken the first 3 countries and it has put them in the first row. Taking the second, put them in the next row. Taking the third, put them in the next row until the last one, which is left with just one, and then it puts it in the last row here. Again, we have the NAs here. So I'm going to remove all these and then rewrite the formula. So the formula is equal to WRAPROWS. You have to specify your vector. Okay, your vector is what? From Argentina to Mexico. So that is your vector. And then comma. And what is your wrap count? That is after how many values in the row do you want to go to the next line or the next row. So we want to make it like a 3 again. You can make it 4, 2, whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and close this again. Press the enter key and you see how this has been wrapped around nicely. Okay. Again, if you want to get rid of the NAs here, you go back to the beginning of the cell and then just go and add the third argument or the third input, which is a pad width. So pad width, I can put double quotation marks like this, and then the pad width takes them away. So notice that this has wrapped around nicely. And like I told you, you could have achieved this in Power Query, but it entails a lot more steps. This is just a formula and it works like magic. Okay, so that wraps, no pun intended, our discussion on WRAPCOLS and WRAPROWS in Excel. Remember, these functions are your best friends when it comes to tidying up your data and improving its presentation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy excelling.